welcome to RC Kicks. On today's show, well, I'm finally starting to put a few little bits and pieces on my Top Force Evolution that I picked up about 2 weeks ago. After having a good look around it, there's a few little bits that aren't quite right, so I went online and I picked up a few pieces. So the car's been driven in the past, obviously because of its age, so I picked up new arms to replace them for ones, because I won't drive this car. I have another one that will be my driver. If you can see that, so this one is going to be my driving car, this one when it's finished, and the other one is purely for display. So it's not perfect, there was a few little bits and pieces missing. So I noticed the rear section here, that shouldn't be a pin like that. It's supposed to have split pin bars, so I picked up a couple of those. Also, I found on the car the two side mounts of screws where you actually have to have the little tiny pin through, so I bought those. So it's just a couple of little tiny updates to do on the car today, and also I've got to put the electronics in it. Now I wanted to ask you guys, I want this car's not really going to be a runner, but I always have my cars fully working and fully full of electronics and ready to go. What would be the most age appropriate and the best electronic speed controller to put in this car? Receiver wise, well, I always run these. These are getting on a bit now, but I really like them because I like driving stick, so I don't mind putting that in it. I'm not sure exactly the age of these, but I think these weren't that far off this. They might be slightly more modern than this car when it was original, but I can live with that. That's fine because it just works with my transmitter, and I'm happy with that. But I'd like to put in a electronic speed controller and a motor that is age appropriate to this car, and also quite high end, because this car is quite special. So if you guys can put something in the comment of what motor I should put in this, from a desirability and age point of view, as well as a electronic speed controller, that would be fantastic, and I will try and source them and put them in this car. So post a comment below. Right, so I've got to change the arms and then put these pins in. These shouldn't be too difficult. Changing the arms can be a bit of a pain, but we will see. So I was actually missing a split pin there, so that just pulled straight out, so I didn't even notice that. It was actually missing on the outside. But I have quite a few, so I can replace it, so that's not a problem. These screws are titanium, so I don't want to lose them. how much you guys know about the Top Force Evo and its history and things like that. I had a quick look just to get a bit of data for you from what I found, but you can gather this data just by searching. Basically, it's kit 58107 and it's on a chassis which is a DF-01. From a release point of view, I had a quick look on Google and I was getting conflicting release dates. So I've got release date of the 24th of December 1992, but also I've seen the 16th of June 1992. So make of that which one of those is right, which one's wrong. Obviously we know everything on the internet is correct, and everybody's an expert. I know I'm not. What else can I tell you? The upgrades over the Top Force. So from what I could find, and also looking at this car, unfortunately I have a Top Force, which is this one up here, but it's been so upgraded that there's not a, it's more closer to this than it is to the original Top Force, so it couldn't give me a good reference. So I don't have a stock Top Force to really look myself, but from what I found online, the upgrades are carbon fiber chassis and carbon fiber uprights, new design ball diff. I don't know how much different it was from the original one, but that's what came up. It's got proper turnbuckles, one-way front drive gear. It means braking's only in the rear. Shielded ball bearings was standard, titanium screw set, and obviously the high cap shocks. I tried to look up the weight of the Top Force and the Top Force Evo to see if the Top Force Evo is lighter, and I couldn't really get any solid information on it, but what I kept coming up with is that actually the Evo is heavier, but I couldn't really prove that. There seemed to be a few different weights and stuff, and obviously depends on if it's got batteries in it, what electronics and stuff like that, so I couldn't really prove either way whether the Evo was heavier, lighter or not. And that's basically all I managed to dig up in the short time that I have had the car and had a look. It's a very popular car, I have to say. The amount of people that have asked about this car, and I have to agree, it's a beautiful looking thing, absolutely stunning. You know, there's nothing, not saying that the Top Force is an ugly car either, but the Evolution, just by the change in the color schemes and things like that, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, big fan of that, and so there's a lot of other people. Hopefully we'll get a which would be great, and then a few more people can get their hands on one. I know I'll be in that queue for a version for sure. Ugh. There we go. One thing I've never been able to really find is unit numbers. I'd love to know what the unit numbers are, like how many Falcons were sold, how many 959s and things like that, but I've never been able to find it. So if you know, or a place where these figures can be seen, but I'm pretty sure Tamiya doesn't release them, but it'd be really interesting to know. I'm looking forward to actually getting one of the cars up and running. I'll come into a bit more about what I'm going to do with this one, but I will have that as a running car, so it'd be really nice to actually have a driving car, because I've never driven a Top Force car before. I guess the closest car that I've driven that's probably along these kind of lines is something like this. This is one of my daily drivers. So I'm guessing this kind of performs along the same sort of lines as this car. Obviously this is a lot older than this car, but I would assume this performs like that, which is great because this performs amazingly well, and it's absolutely filthy. and it could do with some love itself, but as a daily it doesn't get the love. So what do you guys think about the Top Force Evo? Is it an overpriced car? Is it a car that you can quite easily replicate, which is basically what that one is up there? You know, you can buy the decks and you can buy the gears. Do you think they really deserve to demand the kind of money that these do? I'm trying to get this pinion. So yeah, it's lovely. I hate split pins, especially when you've got exactly the right amount. There we go. Right now on eBay UK there's another Top Force Evolution up for sale. It's just a chassis, there's no body with it, but it looks like it's a very low mileage runner, going by the condition and the wheels and things like that, and the tyres that are on it. It'd be interesting to see what that sells for. I think it finishes at the end of today, so I'm guessing this video will come out later this evening maybe, but I won't know. Won't be able to put it in this video. But you don't see them very often, they're very rare. I guess the people that have them don't really want to let them go. But like I said, if a Riri comes out, I'll be the first one in the queue. Now the other thing is, I don't know this car from brand new. I bought it second hand, or it's been through a few people's hands by now. But what do you think about these? May be original arms. They may be. So is it bad to take them off and replace them for well, basically exactly the same ones? These are proper arms from Tamiya, but do you think swapping them out is a bad thing, or does it not make any difference, or is it better to keep the car in perfect condition? What do you think? Personally, for me, I don't mind as long as the parts are original, as in they come from Tamiya, they're not aftermarket, they're stamped from the same mould. There's no actual difference. If there was a difference, then obviously I'd never do that. But for me personally, I don't mind putting new arms on if they come from Tamiya. But some people don't like it. So what do you think? Post in the comments below, let me know. Is it sacrilege what I'm doing right now or not? Or is it just maintaining them? You know, if you put a part, say you take a part off a 2011 Avanti and put it on an 88 Avanti and it's different, that I wouldn't do. That's not my thing. I like it to be original. So far since I heard this one, I've got lots of great feedback from some people that know a lot about Avantis, and this is a really early one, it turns out, but it's because of its age, it's had a few things changed on it. So the steering plate is not the correct one, it's a newer one. So I will try and source an original one to put it back to how it was. But yeah, it's a bit of a minefield. And some people take it very seriously, that it's exactly right and you must have every nut and bolt and things like that, and other people are more just drive it. So let us know in the comments what you think, as it is really interesting. But the main thing is to remember is, as long as you're into RC cars, there is no right or wrong way. It's whatever you want to do. If you want to take out, you want to buy a vintage whatever, and you want to just drive it and enjoy it, who cares? You paid for it, it's your money, do what you want. If you want to have it perfect, sitting on the shelf, never driving it, that's your prerogative. If you don't even want to build it and you want to keep it in the box, and you just like, you take pleasure from stacking up 10 rare cars in boxes that you open now and again to have a look at, go at it. they're yours. Do what you like. So you can't criticise one for being better than the other. I personally, I'm not a big person that really thinks that having them in a box in lots of pieces makes much sense. But they're not mine. So hey, good luck to the person. Plus, the way I look at it, if someone is looking after them in mint condition, sooner or later they'll come up for sale, and then someone else will get to choose. But yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a just because your opinion is different to somebody else's doesn't mean they're wrong or they're right, or vice versa. If we all like RC cars, so enjoy them. Apart from the two cars that I hate the Falcon and the Vanquish. Why? Because I can't stop buying Falcons and I can't stop buying Vanquishes. And working on the Vanquish is a nightmare. Working on the Falcon's easy. But I just can't stop buying the damn things. I've got 3 Vanquishes and 3 Falcons, and that's not healthy. Anyway, I ramble on. I just need to get the drive shaft back in. Push the pin. Oh, I put the arm on upside down. Oh. So if you've tuned into this channel to watch an expert at work, I'm sorry, he's not here today. Oh, I just got that pin in and everything. Oh, rubbish. Rabbiting away and not actually paying any attention to what I'm doing. So it's not my fault, it's yours. Hey, there goes. Luckily I've got enough of those. So let's turn it over and try again, shall we? Right, I've almost got the pin through. It's harder on this side because there's less space because of the rear gearbox getting in the way. Luckily, it's just enough space to get the... Right. Fix that problem, made by myself, which is clever. I've never found a good way to put split pins in. The only thing I use is a very fine, to get them off, is a very fine flathead screwdriver that you just wedge in and ping it off. And to put them on, I use thin nose pliers. And that's the best I can come up with. Right, so that's the rear sorted. Nice new arms. Whether you love that or hate it, I've got a thing about having no scratches on the bottoms of cars. When I pick up a car that's been restored, yeah, it looks lovely. When you turn it over and you see it's completely mint across the bottom, that's one of my things. Next, we'll change the pins for the battery trays, I think. Hopefully that should be reasonably straightforward before we go on to doing the front arms. Another thing that I'm not too sure about, which I have, is on the back of the Top Force has this protector bumper that sticks out. Now I have a spare one of those. Now obviously that can bolt onto the back of the Evo. But I printed off the manual, and in the manual it doesn't show it. But then I've seen some of these that have it and some that don't. So again, if you know whether a Top Force Evo should have that or not. I have one, I just don't know whether it actually belongs. This car didn't have it because it was being, the pins were being held by this, which means it got in the way, because obviously that's not supposed to be there. So let me know in the comments if it should be there or not. But in the print off manual that I got, it doesn't reference it in any way. So I'm assuming it shouldn't be there. Right. Also, I replaced the wheels. These wheels are originals, and so is the tyres. I put the Riri ones that have been dyed onto this one, and the tyres are not quite right. But then I'm going to drive that one, so I don't really care. But there we go. Right, moving on to these. I don't know if you can see those. So basically they are just screws. They were just screws holding them down, which is completely wrong because they should be pins. So I bought, I don't know if you can see that, I bought 4 of those. So hopefully this is going to be easy. Body pins are one of those things, you find hundreds of them and then when you need them you can't find any. These are massive. These are massive. I'll use them so I don't lose it, but I'll change them over because these belong on my TRX 4s. Massive pins. A bit off topic, I was on holiday and I took my TRX 4 to the beach. I've got tons of running video footage that at some point I'll put up on the channel if you're interested in TRX 4s. But when I brought it back, because it'd been running in the ocean, all the bolts had rusted away already. So I bought a aluminium kit, screw kit for my TRX 4. Oh my god, I spent hours. There is hundreds of bolts in a TRX 4 and I spent 2 days. I didn't bother filming it because I don't think you guys want to watch hours and hours of me just swapping bolts over. There we go, that was a nice little easy one. Please excuse the pins because they are massive, but that's more like what they're supposed to be, so you can drop a battery in. So that's back to normal. Next is to do the front two. The front bumper has already been replaced, so the last thing that's actually showing some signs of wear is the front arms. So we need to remove them. Wheels first, I guess. These are pinned up correctly. There's no issues with the arms not being fitted correctly. It's got aftermarket uprights on it, but again, I don't mind them at all. They look quite snazzy. They're not standard, but they kind of mimic the original red ones, so I have no problem with that. And as it's my car, I get to choose, just like you do. Now I tried to take a bumper off a Vanquish not that long ago, and that's only basically 3 screws just like this one, and that turned into a nightmare. There's actually like brass nuts that are held in place by the body, but the plastic surrounding them, holding them in place, just crumbles to dust. So yeah, taking a bumper off a Vanquish, be very careful. It's not as easy as that. Right, so now we can just pull out the pin. Is that exactly the same pin as that? Yeah, it is, yeah. Now, anyway, while I do this boring job, let's talk about my driving Top Force Evo, or whatever it now is in its form. Well, it's had so many updates on it that it's kind of a copy of an Evo. It's got the top and bottom carbon body, it's got the carbon uprights, it's got the one-way drive on the front. It's actually got metal under front section and the metal rear cover as well. So in some ways it's actually got more upgrades than this one. The rear diff feels a bit iffy, so before I run it I will dismantle the rear diff just to see what's going on, because it doesn't feel that great. It feels a bit gritty, so I'll do that. That I'll put brushless in it. I will pick up some Hobby Wing brushless and put that in it, because that will give it the power. What else? I'm going to replace the body. I'm going to do another body for a Top Force Evo replica. So this is a replica one, and replica stickers, and I fancy having a go at doing one, so I'm going to make one. Then I'll put that one on this car, and then this one will go on that car. It will be the same colours and everything, but I just fancied having a go at painting one myself. There's nothing wrong with this one. This one's actually in really good condition, and the stickers are all put on fine. It's got a few little scuff marks on the side, but this will become my driving body. But that's purely for fun. After that, what else? I don't know. I might put high caps on it. It's got upgraded metal suspension on it already, but I'm not sure where it came from. The fronts aren't quite right. The travel is wrong on them. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it, but so I may put high caps on it. I do have a set of high caps that are floating around doing nothing at the moment. I have a full set of vintage ones, but they are earmarked for this little puppy up here. So I might try and get some high caps for it, or I might put something else in it. I mean, they're quite expensive to buy on their own. Lovely, lovely. Right, now we do the other side, and let's hopeful that I can pay enough attention to actually do it. Split pin removal. Yeah, let's ping another split pin across the room, shall we? Went over there somewhere. Oh yeah, please don't in the comments say they're titanium clips, don't lose them, because I'll just cry. And I don't care. Because I'm not finding them. The problem is over the months, the studio is probably full of little split clips. So one day I won't have one, and then I'll just have to go on a hunt around the studio. Speaking of the studio, I'm actually completely run out of space, so I will be redoing the studio to optimize it, to make it a bit more space for the cars, and to make it a little bit nicer to show the cars that I have got. Because you're only looking at sort of a few, and I've got cars piled up all over the place now. So I'm going to, at some point soon, take a few days off work and redo the studio, invest the time in doing the studio. Because since I started the channel about 7 months ago now, things have kind of escalated quite a bit. A little bit more than I thirst for. And if you want to see what I mean, go back and watch one of my awful videos from when I first posted up. Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible. Not that I've come very far going by this video, but the studio looks almost empty. So things have progressed quite fast, and things have been going okay, but I just want to give myself a bit more space, and the studio is not really optimized for that. At some point we'll have to move out of this room because the room's not that big, but I can improve it to last at least another sort of 6-9 months, and then hopefully we'll be able to move to a bigger room. But this is a discussion with the wife regarding whether I can use the 4th bedroom as a studio, because it's really big and it'd be brilliant, versus her losing our guest bedroom. But I'm working on it. Right, there we go. There we go. Almost there. Just putting the bolt screws through. There we go. Right. Now, which one did I do? It was the end one, wasn't it? So that's that one. So it's the furthest one. Right, we're getting there. So I bet half of you in the comments are screaming at me going, why did you do that? You put Riri parts on. And yeah, sorry about that. And I'm sure the other half of you are commenting that I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. And you would be right. Unfortunately, I didn't have formal training in RCs. I kind of just like messing around with them. So I have 2 split pins to fit. Woo! And then that then that will be it. Right. I posted a few messages on Facebook last week while I was away with work, and I asked for people to comment on some questions and things like that, because I thought if I get enough people asking, I'll do some questions and answers and stuff like that. But I turned out I didn't have enough time in the end of the day, and also I only got a few questions really. A lot of them were more sort of asking me technical stuff, which just because I have a YouTube channel doesn't mean I know everything. So it was really just asking, you know, people wanted to ask me some questions and stuff. I will do something like that at some point. So so if you have any questions or anything like that you want to ask, then ask away. And then when I've got enough questions, if they're questions I think are quite interesting, I will keep them to one side, build up a list, and then do a question and answer sort of thing, or opinion thing, or whatever. So feel free to put any questions, or you can email me at gavinevans@rckicks.com, and I will, oh god, what's going on there? I will reply as best I can. There we go. Just put the wheel back on, put the bumper back on, and that's the chores done for the Evo. I'll hold off fitting the receiver until I get some feedback from you guys on what electronic speed controller to fit, because I won't know what size. Also, what motor. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think would be the correct motor to put in this, that's at the level of this car and its rarity and things like that. Bumper. So there you have it, a little bit more of an update. The back is now correct, the pins are as they should be, the arms are all lovely and new, the battery tray is now correct. So happy as Larry, nothing missing on that one. There was a few missing split pins as well, which I found, which I've now fixed. And everything is as it should be. I just need to know about that bit that goes on the back. But yeah, so there you go. A little bit of an update, bit of a rambling video, but I hope you like it. And next, oh, last thing, the frog giveaway. I ordered the paints, went down to pick them up yesterday, and they hadn't ordered them. So the frog paints are coming in this week, but again, I'm away with work for a few days. So the painting of the frog body will happen next weekend, and then hopefully I can get that project completely done and dusted, and then we can get it out to the winner. thanks very much. Have a good week, and I will see you probably next weekend. Thanks very much. Bye bye.